Welcome to ABN Now with the latest news and innovations from original concept through distribution. I'm Lindsay Christian.
And I'm Mike Black. We will be your hosts for today's program.
And now, here's what's in the news.
Should blueprints for untraceable 3D printed firearms be publicly available? Although it's been around for decades, only recently has 3D printing undergone a surge in popularity. The spike in popularity for 3D printing started with the rise of open source online blueprints, which enable users to obtain and download a long list of coordinates. These coordinates tell the printer which direction to move as it deposits small quantities of heated plastic. The innovative printers can create a variety of different tools, components, figurines, and even weapons. This ability of 3D printers comes into light after a federal judge issued a block on a Texas-based company to publicly release blueprints to 3D print firearms. Defense Distributed, the nonprofit entity in question, reached a previous agreement with the federal government that would have allowed the company to publicly release blueprints for 3D printed handguns. The temporary block was issued 24 hours before the instructions were set to be released. Opponents of making blueprints for 3D printed firearms publicly available are concerned about these firearms being untraceable. Convicted felons and violent individuals could easily access this information without being subjected to background checks or firearm registries like they would if purchasing a normal gun. On the contrary, firearm enthusiasts point out determined individuals could simply purchase individual parts for firearms to put their own model together. Not only would they still avoid background checks, but they would have a real firearm at their disposal that is still untraceable. Despite concerns over 3D printed firearms being untraceable, supporters of making these firearm blueprints publicly available don't think the entire process of printing and assembling firearms is worth all the fuss. They point out that it could take over 36 hours to complete the process, and there's also the tendency of fully plastic 3D printed firearms to suffer damage after being shot even just once. This is because the material used isn't strong enough to withstand a bullet explosion, and a firearm's barrel must withstand a high degree of stress when fired. Even after the recent federal ruling, Defense Distributed has decided to forego the judge's decision and begin selling these blueprints to any interested buyers. Over to you, Lindsay.
Earlier this year, scientists spent months attempting to identify the source of a toxic strain of E. coli. While researchers were able to pinpoint the leafy green's origin to a farm in Arizona, they could not find the source of the contamination, which was the largest E. coli outbreak in the U.S. since 2006. Food safety is a research area that hasn't benefited from this century's rapidly advancing technology, but that doesn't mean there aren't researchers currently working hard to solve the concerns about food safety and public health. From using nanoparticles and advanced lab techniques to harnessing the power of machine learning and collaboration, scientists worldwide are trying to inject safety into our food supply. Researchers are currently working on food safety testing methods to ensure food safety for the public. Paul Kruger joins me now to report on the top current work underway in the lab. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Lindsay. One way researchers are developing new food safety testing methods is through fossilized algae. For this testing, scientists from Oregon State University relied on diatomite, which is derived from fossilized cell walls of diatoms. In combination with gold nanoparticles, they created a prototype lab-on-a-chip device that can successfully monitor a food contaminant known as histamine. This comes from the decomposition of canned fish such as tuna and sardines, resulting in reported headaches and skin rashes in humans. The device can also detect other harmful chemicals such as pesticides, hormones, and illegal antibiotics.
So, Paul, I understand that you had a chance to speak with an expert about this new technology?
Yes, we spoke to Alan Wang from the research team at Oregon State University, who said in an interview that traditionally a regular TLC material can only perform TLC functionality, but cannot enhance SERS signals. But this material, the diatomite, can do both. So that's why we can get a much better performance than a commercial TLC plate. Currently, The standard for food safety researchers is gas chromatography mass spectrometry, or GCMS, but this is a very expensive technique and the process can be time-consuming. Wang and his team demonstrated that a diatomite-based microfluidic channel device could achieve up to 10 parts per billion sensitivity, which is comparable to GCMS, but at a much lower cost.
Paul, is this technology ready for the public to take advantage of yet?
So far, the researchers have only demonstrated a prototype of the on-chip device utilizing a benchtop Raman microscope. The next step is creating an in-field and out-of-the-lab version of the device, relying on a portable Raman spectrometer to detect the SERS signals. Researchers are also helping to ensure food safety via magnetic particles. Pesticides are used in almost every food crop, and although they're good for the crops, the same can't be said for humans. But the current method of pesticide extraction are costly in terms of time and money. Food scientists from the National University of Singapore have developed a rapid and highly sensitive screening technique through a novel method using polystyrene-coated magnetic nanoparticles that can effectively extract residue, or pyrethroid, from the synthetic pesticide from vegetable crops for analysis by simple magnetic separation. This new innovation will allow sample analysis to be completed within 2 hours, and it can detect pyrethroids at a concentration level as low as 0.02 nanograms per gram of vegetables. NUS professor Yang Heng Shun explained after each extraction procedure is finished, they collect magnetic nanoparticles using a magnet. By an easy wash and dry process, they can be used again and again, which decreases the cost of extraction. Yang also said he believes this technique will be widely applied in the food safety industry in the future.
Thank you for your excellent reporting, Paul. We look forward to the widespread adoption of this new technology. And now, a word from our sponsor.
Memory protection devices, now offering battery holder evaluation kits for through-hole or surface mount use. Having access to these kits makes the design process easier. Order your kits today at digikey.com.
Our Innovate segment is for professionals across the globe who face numerous challenges while striving to play key roles in significant advancements in research to improve our nation. This section of our broadcast is brought to you by MPD.
Each week, R&D Magazine follows the top 25 spenders in research and development as part of its R&D Market Pulse Index. These companies are selected based on the latest listings from Schoenfeld & Associates' June 2018 R&D ratios and budgets and include major players across the pharmaceutical, automotive, and information and communications technology sectors. Together, these top companies invest approximately 10% of all the R&D dollars spent in the world by government, industry, and academia combined. This according to R&D Magazine's 2018 Global R&D Funding Forecast. Here are a few recent significant updates from the top 25 and the Market Pulse with Emily Rizik.
Thanks, Mike. Welcome to R&D Market Pulse. Pharmaceutical R&D invested in low-income countries in the pharmaceutical space. Several of the top R&D spenders were recently recognized by the Access to Medicine Foundation, an independent nonprofit organization, as part of their 2018 Access to Medicine Index. This index analyzes how the world's largest pharmaceutical companies are addressing access to medicine in low to middle income countries. As part of the index, the foundation specifically scored pharmaceutical companies based on their investment in R&D within those countries. There is a huge demand for R&D that meets the needs of people living in low and middle income countries, as new products are needed for infectious diseases such as malaria, as well as for tropical parasitic diseases. The Access to Medicine Foundation ranked top R&D spender GlaxoSmithKline the highest for its R&D efforts in this space. In a statement, Phil Thompson, President, Global Affairs, GSK, said, "We're pleased to have ranked first and improved our score in the Access to Medicine Index. We welcome the recognition for having the largest proportion of our R&D pipeline dedicated to priority diseases and for the creation of an integrated global health R&D unit to stimulate collaboration. Merck took second place in the index, followed by Novartis, Johnson & Johnson, and Sanofi in the top 5 spots. Eisai, Takeda, Pharmaceutical Daiichi Sankyo, Bayer, Novo Nordisk, and AstraZeneca were ranked in the top 10. In recent years, there's been a significant uptake in R&D investment in autonomous and partially autonomous vehicle technologies. For Mobileye, an Intel company, these investments are paying off. Abellio, one of London's leading bus operators, has launched a major safety trial of Mobileye's aftermarket collision avoidance technology. The trial's findings to date show that Mobileye collision avoidance technology has reduced avoidable collisions by 29% and reduced injuries from such collisions by 60%. For the trial, 66 buses on 3 of the company's London routes have been equipped with the Mobileye collision avoidance technology, each having a camera unit installed on the inside of the windshield and a display placed in the driver's cab. The Mobileye system provides audio and visual alerts that assist in the preventing or mitigating collisions. The final result of the trial should be available by the end of this year. In response to the trial findings, Gil Alian, director of EMEA at Mobileye, said, "All over the world, bus companies are investing in Mobileye technology to improve safety standards, ensuring that drivers can take prompt action when danger is detected." Abellio takes safety very seriously. They've been a superb partner helping their drivers get the very best out of the system. Simon, the world's first artificial intelligence-enabled astronaut assistant, has made its debut aboard the International Space Station. Airbus developed and built Simon on behalf of the German Aerospace Center and supplied the robot's autonomous navigation capabilities for motion planning and object recognition. R&D top spender IBM Watson allows Simon to recognize faces and respond to spoken commands and requests with the aid of voice-controlled AI hosted in the IBM cloud. The AI robot demonstrated its assistant skills and, on its display face, showed instructions for a student experiment on crystallization. The robot also flew some maneuvers, recorded a video and photos with its integrated camera, and even played music. The human aspects of the assistant system were co-developed and supervised by scientists from the Ludwig Maximilian University Hospital in Munich. Simon's ears consisted of 8 microphones for directional recognition plus a directional microphone for good speech recognition. Its mouth is a loudspeaker through which it can speak and play music. 12 internal fans enable Simon to move and rotate freely in all directions. Simon can turn to a particular astronaut when addressed, nod, or shake its head, and follow the astronaut spatially, independently, or on command. To learn more about the R&D Market Pulse Index, view the full list of top 25 companies, or read the Expert Stock Market Insight, go directly to rdmag.com and click on the Market Pulse page. Back to you, Mike.
We have some disturbing news about how e-cigarettes can damage DNA. New research suggests that electronic cigarettes could modify DNA in the oral cells of users, increasing the risk of cancer. Dr. Ramel Datour from the Masonic Cancer Center at the University of Minnesota said that he and his colleagues wanted to characterize the chemicals that people who use e-cigarettes are exposed to, and also study any DNA damage these chemicals may cause. To do this, the researchers collected saliva samples from 5 e-cigarette users and compared it with samples from people who do not use the product. They then assessed the DNA damage in the cells using mass spectrometry-based methods. The team was able to identify 3 DNA-damaging compounds caused by e-cigarettes: formaldehyde, acrolein, and methylglyoxal, whose levels increased in the saliva after use. Compared with people who don't vape, 4 of the 5 e-cigarette users showed increased DNA damage related to acrolein exposure. The type of damage, called DNA adduct, occurs when toxic chemicals such as acrolein react with DNA. If the cell does not repair that damage so that normal DNA replication can take place, then cancer could result. The researchers plan to follow up this preliminary study with a much larger one involving more e-cigarette users and controls. These findings are especially concerning as e-cigarettes use is becoming more prominent among a younger population. In fact, according to a 2016 report by the U.S. Surgeon General, 13.5% of middle school students, 37.7% of high school students, and 35.8% of young adults between the ages of 18 to 24 years old have used e-cigarettes. This number is compared with 16.4% of adults older than 25.
While a lot of people have chosen to vape as a healthier alternative to smoking, this is important news for them. So on to another exciting innovation has a next-generation insect repellent that will combat mosquito-borne diseases. Over to our correspondent, Paul Kruger.
Researchers from Iowa State University have found a whole new class of effective mosquito repellents based on naturally occurring compounds. These new, next-generation spatial repellents are variations of natural products that are longer lasting and have greater repellency. Dr. Joel Coates and graduate students James Klibovitz and Caleb Corona have been synthesizing and testing hundreds of compounds against mosquitoes, and they presented their findings at ACS. They knew that sesquiterpenoids, which are found in many plants, are effective insect repellents, but these large molecules are difficult to isolate from plants and hard to make and purify in the laboratory. Because of the challenges of synthesizing sesquiterpenoids, the researchers were able to design a new repellent using smaller, less complex molecules with known short-term repellent activities against insects. By modifying these compounds chemically, the scientists produced new potential repellents with higher molecular weights, making them less volatile and longer lasting. Nearly 700 million people worldwide suffer from mosquito-borne diseases such as malaria, West Nile, Zika, and dengue fever each year, resulting in more than 1 million deaths.
And what these scientists are doing, man, that is great news. The Zika virus sure had a lot of us concerned just last year. And now it's time for Discover. Our Discover segment is intended to provide concise and insightful information on the latest scientific instruments, software, supplies, and equipment. Today's Discover topic is fashion in the lab. Lindsay?
People who work in laboratories shouldn't be uncomfortable while conducting forward-thinking research through experiments and tests. Their work requires strict concentration and time, so worrying about a uniform is the last thing that should be on their minds. The laboratory environment has major equipment and everyday items like consumables utilized daily and later discarded. The safety of the employees in the lab is paramount. And that includes the clothes they wear to work each day. That doesn't mean lab wear needs to be boring and frumpy. Medelia, a company that supplies lab professionals and medical personnel with a fashion line, believes in outfitting lab professionals in style. The company showcases a line for both men and women in clothing that offers stylish comfort. According to the company's mission, its design teams have spent years on research and development, testing their proprietary technology on the fabric interior to keep lab and medical professionals cool, dry, and comfortable. The clothing is made of fabric that repels fluid, soil, and stains. Medelia's lab coats have the highest possible rating in the industry when tested for strength, soil release, and fluid repellency. In fact, the fabric is patented to provide first-of-its-kind hydrophilic and hydrophic properties to pull moisture away from the body while repelling fluids on the outer surface. But not only is the innovative fabric safe for the lab environment, these lab coats represent the highest standard in terms of a flattering, comfortable fit. The collection of professional lab coats and jackets provides a premium option for every body type. It's also gender specific for a look and feel more like what you'd find in a blazer than in a typical lab coat. The distinct lab jackets offer details such as reinforced French finished seaming, tasteful trim detail, intuitively placed pockets, and extremely durable buttons. And there's a style for everyone. So perhaps lab workers don't think about style when they get ready for work, but they should. The key points in choosing the best lab wear should take into consideration these basic rules. Get an ergonomic fit for movement. Choose a fabric that repels stains and moisture wicking. And don't forget the flattering fashion-forward details.
Thank you for that update on lab fashion. We return with our design pillar after a word from our sponsor.
For more than 40 years, OKW has been a market leader in the design and manufacture of high-quality standard plastic enclosures for EO/EM electronics equipment. To find a perfect housing for your latest design, check out our website at okwenclosures.com.
Our Design Pillar segment addresses the universe of electronic design engineers, where the need to achieve greater efficiencies throughout the design process drives their world. This section of our broadcast is brought to you by OKW Enclosures. Every other year, electronic companies flock to Germany for the Electronica Trade Fair, and 2018 was no exception, with an increase in visitor attendance of 10%. With more than 3,100 exhibitors, it's practically impossible to see everything, so here are a few highlights from the show floor. Test and measurement exhibitors played a key role at the show, stressing the importance of ensuring that vital components function the way they're supposed to, particularly for autonomous vehicle sensors and IoT devices. Companies like Keysight Technologies that presented their UXR series of oscilloscopes and IoT testing solutions that delivers the ability to measure multiple sensors and components on the electrical powertrain of a connected vehicle. Rohde & Schwarz also featured their R&S QAR quality automotive radome tester, which analyzes the quality of automotive radomes and bumpers in a few seconds. Smart home technology and artificial intelligence were also major themes at this year's Electronica. In fact, the show's slogan was "Connecting Everything Smart, Safe, and Secure." TE Connectivity is working on connected home technology and appliances that offer users reliability, easy handling, and remote access. Currently, most smart home devices offer users the information and the ability to control that individual device. But the industry is moving toward technology that allows these devices to communicate with each other to solve problems. For example, there are currently sensors that can inform a homeowner that they have a water leak in their home. But soon that sensor will be able to turn off the water for the home. The ability for devices to achieve this ties directly into machine learning and artificial intelligence. However, these conveniences do come with concerns of safety and security, which has made many consumers slow to adopt these new technologies. However, TE Connectivity stresses that software and proper legislation are the keys to ensuring a safe experience. Exciting technology coming out of Electronica these days. And speaking of exciting, we have a piece on autonomous cars, so over to our correspondent, Emily Reisig.
Most of us use crosswalks without a second thought. But how would your feelings change if autonomous cars prowled the streets? Well, according to the American Automobile Association, about 63% of adults would feel unsafe walking or cycling in the presence of self-driving vehicles. To help ease the tech trepidation, UK-based Jaguar Land Rover is adding a human quality to driverless cars: eyes. In experiments, autonomous intelligent pods designed by UK auto drive partner Origo wait for pedestrians to cross on a simulated street scene. The virtual eyes appear to look at the pedestrian passing by, which conveys the message that the vehicle knows of their presence and will not move until everything is clear. The study, which has more than 500 test subjects, falls under a broader project that implores the connections between people and autonomous cars, taking an interesting approach to the ease pedestrians' mind. Jaguar Land Rover isn't the only company developing the future, next-gen eyes that'll traverse our roads. Researchers at Stanford University recently created an artificial intelligence camera that offers faster image classification and increased energy efficiency for autonomous cars. Current computers running AI algorithms are too large and slow for future applications. The Stanford team addressed this problem by mixing two types of computers into one concise design. The result was a hybrid optical-electrical computer primed as image analysis expert. The prototype camera's first layer is an optical computer that doesn't need to suffer from the power drain of digital computing's mathematics calculations. The computer physically pre-processes the image data and filters it naturally as light passes through the optics. Layer 1 has zero input power, which saves both time and energy. A digital electronics computer sits at the second layer, and since pre-processing has already handled, it has fewer steps to complete, all of which are happening at the speed of light. Real-world experiments have shown promising results, with the system successfully identifying airplanes, automobiles, and animals within nature environments. From big virtual eyes to AI-enhanced cameras, we'll just have to see with our own eyes what mechanisms our self-driving counterparts will use to interpret the world.
Wow, it looks like a big kid's toy with those eyes. Exciting new ideas. Well, that brings us to our segment, Roger Now. It's my pleasure to introduce Roger Ettner, coming to us from Boston. Roger Ettner is the founder and lead analyst of Recon Analytics. He's known around the globe as one of the most respected telecom experts. Roger's research has been cited in 6 annual mobile wireless competition reports to Congress, making him one of the most quoted analysts in the history of these highly influential reports. Hello, Roger. Thank you you for speaking with us today. So I'll jump right in. With mobile 5G on the horizon, which part of the wireless ecosystem do you think is driving commercialization? Carriers, tech vendors, chip makers, OEMs, or a combo?
I think a huge driver for this are both the carriers and the vendors. Carriers are very excited about 5G because it, again, lets them increase the utility they can provide to their customers. And it also represents a revenue opportunity because it opens up new business segments. I don't think that retail customers will pay necessarily more for it, just like they didn't pay more for 3G, for 4G than over 3G, and for 3G over 2G. But it opens up a whole new universe of things to do. If you've seen mixed reality, if you've seen volumetric video, all of these things will be possible on a mobile scale to do that. More importantly, it opens up so many things in businesses, enterprises, manufacturing, and the alike that needed a wired solution today. And on top of it, customers want a new thing. And mobile devices, the incremental device has become increasingly less and less exciting, right? And here we have the opportunity for more excitement. On top of it, it reshuffles the competitive mix. Whoever wins in rolling out and enthusing customers can really change the fortunes for their company. We've seen it over and over again, that new technology, new capabilities, more reliability, faster services have always won, and consumers have voted with their feet.
Roger, as the 5G race heats up, nearly every industry player is trying to rack up first. Who do you think is leading this race, and what are the benefits of being first?
Well, the advantage of being first is that you have bragging rights, and everybody wants to be first, and customers want to be with a winner. So, we will have, and the bragging has already started. Verizon is the first 5G, but on non-standard and to the home. AT&T is the first 5G mobile solution. T-Mobile will be claiming the first 5G nationwide network. Sprint claims first 5G in mid-spectrum. So everybody wants to be first. Everybody is first in their own way. And you know what? When devices are coming out that have 5G in low band, like in 700, and in mid band, like in 1900, the whole country will be 5G because carriers will turn on slivers of spectrum to support that. So you will have, if you have the device, a 5G thing on the device and feel pretty good about it, right? So the big winner will be device manufacturers who because it gives us another reason to buy this new phone rather than be stuck in the last generation. And if you have a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10-year-old phone, now is the time to change.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today, Roger. Over to you, Mike.
We'll move on now to our manufacturing pillar. The Manufacturer Pillar segment delivers to a global community the most up-to-date news, trends, and opinions that are shaping the manufacturing landscape.
This is our Manufacturing Minute. Passive radio frequency identification, better known as RFID tags, are inexpensive labels that don't require batteries to track and identify a wide variety of items. Building on the idea are MIT's experimental RFIQ system, which allows consumers to check if food products are contaminated. When temporarily powered up by radio waves emitted from a handheld reader device, passive RFID tags use an integrated antenna to transmit a radio signal back to the device, which contains information on the item such as its stock number, batch number, or production date. When stuck to the outside of a container, the radio waves emitted by the tag travel back through the wall of that container and are subtly distorted by the molecules and ions of its contents. MIT's RFIQ tags exploit this phenomenon with a computer trained to identify unique signal distortions associated with specific contaminants within foods or beverages. And that's our Manufacturing Minute.
Manufacturing surely has a lot of opportunity for positive change in the future. Following the manufacture of a great product is the distribution of that product to the marketplace. In today's distribution pillar, we'll take a look at the changing landscape of distribution and the challenges they are facing. The question will be, do you get on board now or possibly face losing your business in the future? The distribution pillar serves as a vital supply chain role. With global economic competition intensifying, the end user customer needs short lead times, on-time delivery, and technical support. More and more, they're looking to distributors to play a crucial role in keeping their supply chains operating smoothly and effectively. This section of our broadcast is brought to you by ORS NASCO. Market experts are warning industrial distributors not to make the same mistake that many retail giants made when they reacted too slowly as Amazon began to eat away at market share and threaten their brick-and-mortar operations. That same Amazon effect now is poised to conquer traditional B2B, especially distributors who appear to be the most vulnerable. Many still use outdated e-commerce strategies that merely place products on websites that offer vague details, list prices or no prices, and sales contact links that can lead to costly, time-consuming price negotiations and potentially lost sales. Today's modern commerce uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to quickly analyze market and consumer data, instantly offer reasonable prices that encourage immediate order placement online or via smart devices, and don't require direct contact with many reps. Experts say modern commerce will transform B2B markets in much the same way that Amazon altered the retail landscape. But the impact in B2B will be felt in a few short years rather than over the course of a decade. Distributors who sell a wide range of products appear most vulnerable and are warned to start the transition to modern commerce ASAP to avoid becoming the next victims of the Amazon effect.
Mike, this seems like a critical time in the distribution sector.
They certainly face pressure from modern-day commerce giants like Amazon, let me tell you.
Well, Amazon is certainly a force to be reckoned with. Now we'll take a minute to hear from the CEO of Advantage Business Marketing, who's leading the company through a transition to become a true marketing company. I'd like to welcome Bruce Cummings. Thank you for joining us today, Bruce.
It is my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So tell us about Advantage Business Marketing and how you're transitioning it from media to marketing.
So we were always a marketing company, so it's not a true change because we always provided great marketing services, but we went to the street as media. And so what's different about what we're doing now is my job is to refocus the company purely on marketing. So we took this company from 23 brand pillars down to 5 concise pillars. And with that refocusing effort comes a lot of change. The change came in the form of our brand modification. Simply, we are a company that does one thing. We measure everything. We figure out a way to make it better, to make us successful so that we can make our company successful. Our vision is to be a case study. There's so many companies that have large, bold visions, but this is simple. I want everybody in the company that I can walk up to every day and I can ask them, what's our job today? How did you contribute to the case study? And the beauty of being a case study is that when we double, triple, quadruple the revenues of the company, because we're measuring every little thing, and we market ourselves to the greatest extent possible. Once we document that with words, metrics, video, we can go to anybody on the planet and say, we did this for ourselves and we can do it for you. So we are a marketing company, but we will do anything to help our companies grow.
Truly looking at the data to present to your clients. So
Totally.
I've heard about the Mobius Business Intelligence Platform. Walk us through the highlights of this platform, Bruce.
Mobius is a breakthrough technology platform. A lot of companies talk about transformation, right? This is mining industry information, the best technologies out there, and aggregating the best technology to create a platform for our clients. What's beautiful about Mobius is it's the mother lode of marketing, because we get to prove through a total wrap of intelligent analytics around every touch point with our clients, from content to sales, and monitor and metric those touch points so that we can prove out a true ROI. And so what Mobius is, it's a closed loop marketing solution that generates leads through data and captive analytics, and then it's an iterative process. We continue to touch the data, we continue to touch the content, so that we're always providing a constant feedback loop to our clients and our clients' marketers. And what that means is, when we do that, let's just say somebody's trending or talking about coffee and everybody in the marketplace wants to hear about mocha lattes. We tell our client in real time through dashboards, business intelligence dashboards, that you need to start talking about coffee and stop talking about mocha lattes. It's an incredibly complex platform that has multiple integration layers in it. That's to us. But to the client, it's incredibly simple, because everything happens in the background. Everything happens in real time. And it's totally simple for the client. And it's an always-on real-time solution. And so when we integrate with a client's customer relationship management system, we tie in and we provide, there are 3 components to it that are really important. It's the CRM, the integration, whether it's Salesforce or HubSpot. And if they don't have a CRM, we will provide a CRM. There's the metrics and dashboard and the analytics. That's a real-time, 24/7, on-time, real-time screen that they get to look at. What's the feedback on the content? What's the feedback back to the sales team? And then there's the content piece that's, look, you need to be pushing the right content. And so everything has to do with how do we create, when I say closed loop, it means the system learns itself and gets smarter over time to provide the right content, the right sales information, puts it up on your dashboard to ultimately generate the revenue that we want.
What I'm hearing, Bruce, is that technology is at the heart of the Mobius Business Intelligence Platform. Is that right?
It is. I mean, you know, big data, you hear the word big data, and we've heard it for years and years now. But big data really only came about, 4, 5, 6 years ago. And we're to the point, looking at the industry landscape, it's my job to recognize and find technology that helps our clients make money. That's why we're truly a marketing company now, because we can prove and guarantee an ROI through technology.
Through technology. Tell us about this Advantage Business Network. What is your vision for it?
It's the Ted Turner of the manufacturing sector.
All right.
So what we once had 23 media platforms, right? I took over the company in April of this year and did a refocusing and repositioning of what the company is. We always had great marketing content through e-blasts and webinars and print media and newsletters. But by taking those 23 brands and rolling them up to under 5 key pillars, we now have the ability to push out great content, which is what the video network's about. And we cover the entire manufacturing life cycle now. We do a pillar of R&D, we do a pillar of lab equipment and design, we do a pillar of manufacturing, we do a pillar of ECN, electrical component, and then we do a pillar of distribution. So we cover R&D all the way to distribution. So the vision for the news network, ABN NOW, is to be the one-stop source for original content that has to do with creating great products and great science. And we will be pushing original content through just another news channel, and that's our intent.
Digital is the wave of the future, Bruce.
I agree, but print will not go away.
Okay.
And so through technology, we can still use our print and utilize things like augmented reality in print, where you can actually bring a print magazine to life.
So taking it to the next level.
Yes,
ABN,
exactly.
ABN Now.
ABN Now.
ABN Now. So you mentioned R&D. You're hosting a Research and Development Breakthrough Summit next year. Can you give us a sneak peek into what that will look like?
Love this. So one of the things we're doing under the 5 pillars, which is, again, the R&D all the way to distribution, is to create events under each of the pillars. We host an R&D 100, which the company has had around for almost 56 years now. What we want to do is leverage those assets. The Breakthrough Summit takes great science with great intellectual property and business leaders from Fortune 500 to Fortune 1000 companies and brings that information and the individuals together to create the next generation of entrepreneurs. And so we are promoting this through academia. It's a great platform for grad students, PhD students who are underutilized in the marketplace, where companies want to find intellectual property that they don't know exists from the R&D standpoint and find the right individual that's passionate about this technology. The thing about building great products is it takes complex technology and somebody with a great mind to simplify it so much that it turns it into a breakthrough company and a breakthrough product. So we're going to bring this brain trust to you, to the companies, the individuals for the Breakthrough Summit.
And it sounds like you're pouring into and developing future leaders in R&D through this summit.
We are. So again, across our platform, if you're a smaller company and you don't have an R&D budget, we will become your R&D. When I say we're a marketing company, but we exist to grow the company, if you don't have an R&D company or an R&D budget, we become your R&D budget for you. If you're a big company but don't have access to tens of thousands of licenses and patents, we can provide that for you. And so we will have a pitch competition under the 5 pillars. We will have sponsorship opportunities under the 5 pillars. And it's going to be a really fun experiential learning opportunity, and like a pub crawl for each of the 5 pillars. And so you got to have fun. You're dealing with PhD and grad students, but the idea is to bring great technology, great science minds to build great products.
Well, it sounds like some really great execution coming down the pipeline. Bruce, we want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
And sharing with us your vision.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank
Enjoyed
you.
it.
So it was great to hear about your innovative approach to marketing. For more information on the Breakthrough Summit, visit rdbreakthrough.com.
Finally, we would like to thank all of you for joining us today on ABN Now.
And join us again as we delve into the latest news and innovations from conception through distribution.
Until next time.
Goodbye, everyone.